Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's morning briefing.
The Rishon LeZion District Court ordered the release on Thursday of 4 out of the 5 Jewish minor terror suspects currently detained by the Shin Bet security services. The 4 minors were released to house arrest while the 5th suspect is to remain in custody. The suspects are alleged to have killed Palestinian woman and mother of 7, Aisha Raubi, who was killed in October after having been hit in the head by rocks while driving in the car with her husband and daughter in the West Bank. Itamar Ben-Gvir, an attorney for one of the suspects, criticized the authorities and said, "I don't understand how the prosecutors allowed these arrests," adding that his client was traumatized by the Shin Bet interrogation that lasted nearly 2 weeks, and that he expected the Shin Bet to do some soul searching. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, the right-wing legal aid organization representing the minors, Honenu, said that the police raided the Pri Haaretz yeshiva where the 5 minors studied and handed out summons to around 80 yeshiva students to represent themselves for questioning regarding the incident. Over 30 of the 80 students have already been questioned in preliminary inquiries. Honenu then slammed security forces as well, calling the raid illegal and demanding that Public Security Minister Gilad Erdan wake up and put a stop to the trampling of the rights of children in educational institutions. Since details of the case were made public, the Shin Bet has come under a great deal of scrutiny in what's been called a targeted smear campaign by interested parties, even prompting Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to issue a public statement in support of the organization this past week. Further, after security forces apprehended the terrorists responsible for the Givat Asaf and Ofra murders, Netanyahu also praised the Shin Bet, saying that it's the best counterterrorism organization of its kind in the world. "We owe it a great deal. It performs professionally and morally. There's no room to attack it." In similar news, the IDF announced on Thursday that military police arrested 4 IDF soldiers and 1 officer who allegedly beat 2 Palestinian suspects that were in their custody. The 5 soldiers from the Kfir Brigade's religious Netzach Yehuda battalion will now be brought before a military court on Thursday to face charges. The military police is investigating whether the soldiers acted out of revenge for the shooting attack in Givat Asaf last month that killed 2 soldiers from their battalion, Sergeant Yosef Cohen and Staff Sergeant Yovel Mor Yosef. But Asim Barghouti, who is believed to have carried out the attack, was captured by Israeli security forces on Tuesday after a weeks-long manhunt. And Barghouti is also suspected of being involved with his brother Salih in another shooting, which left 7 Israelis injured. Among them, a 7 months pregnant woman whose baby was delivered in an emergency operation only to die days later. The Shin Bet said Barghouti was preparing to carry out additional terror attacks in the near future as well, and he was arrested in a joint Shin Bet IDF and Yamam operation, which captured additional accomplices as well. While the IDF did not provide details on the arrest of the 5 soldiers, though, the incident is believed to have occurred at the same time of the takedown of Barghouti and his accomplices. Prime Minister Netanyahu has twice now submitted requests to the State Comptroller's Permits Committee to secure funding for his legal fees from wealthy friends and associates, specifically his cousin Natan Milikowski and American businessman Spencer Partridge. But new reports today reveal that Milikowski had already given Netanyahu $300,000, despite Netanyahu's first funding request being rejected and his second request still pending. The first funding request was reportedly rejected for a number of reasons, including that the benefactors in question, both Partridge and Milikowski, were questioned by police in the corruption probe Case 1000, one of the 3 cases against the Prime Minister. And Case 1000, ironically, is also in regards to suspicions of accepting lavish gifts. Another reason was that the request simply lacked pertinent information, like how much money was being requested, how much had already been given, and for which cases the money was intended to be partitioned. This is what prompted Netanyahu's legal team to resubmit the request earlier this week with added information. But according to Haaretz reports, buried within the 25-page document resubmitted to the Permits Committee, the Prime Minister's attorney included that Netanyahu had already acquired $300,000 from Milikowski to pay for his and his wife Sarah's legal fees. Further, the date of the payment was not included. Regardless, though, the payment is thought to be illegal, so now, should the Permits Committee reject this latest submission, they'll likely have to open an investigation into this latest payment as well. The Abbas Israel Synagogue in Washington, D.C., first built in 1876, is the oldest standing synagogue in the American nation's capital, and it stood proudly at 2850 Quebec Street ever since, until now. But it's not been destroyed. No, in order to preserve the structure and to protect it from damage due to nearby construction, Abbas Israel, the whole of it, is being moved down the street. The brick-and-mortar building was first loaded Wednesday onto a massive platform that's motorized and mobilized with dozens of wheels, and moving crews laughed and joked as they escorted the synagogue down the road. And despite just moving down the street to the corner of 3rd and F, it's still a technical marvel, taking hours to complete. Finally, upon arrival, the plan for the historic structure is to be joined with the Lillian and Albert Small Capital Jewish Museum. It's scheduled to open in 2021 and will focus on the rich history of Jewish American life in D.C.
That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.